In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a super easy tank top with a bow detail. For this project, we're going to need scissors, thread, pins, some elastic. You can do a picot elastic or just a plain elastic. Some sheer fabric, and then some stretch fabric. I'm going to be making my top in black, but I'll use the other fabric because it's easier to see. And then a rose brooch, which is super easy to find on eBay. We're going to start by draping the front of the top, so you're just going to pin at the side seams and the shoulder seams. And then you're going to roughly cut around where you pinned, keeping in mind to leave at least a 1 centimeter seam allowance. You can also roughly cut the length that you'd like for this top as well. And then you're going to move on to draping the back, doing the exact same steps, pinning at the side seams and at the shoulders. This is a bit of a tighter fitting top, so you can just pull the fabric to your desired fit and take it in at the side seams. I continued trimming and making adjustments to my pins until I liked the fit. You want to also roughly cut a shape for your armhole at this stage. You can absolutely do this on yourself if you don't have a mannequin, it's just a little trickier. I decided to cut more of a boat neckline, so I went slightly wider with the neck. We're now ready to sew our shoulder seams and our side seams, and we're going to do all of these with a zigzag stitch. After you're done those 4 seams, it's a good time to try it on and make any needed adjustments. I decided to cut my sleeves a little smaller and to place pins to take it in slightly at the waist. You can also just place pins around the sleeve and then cut it when you take it off. You only have to do this for one of your armholes and then you can just mirror it on the other side. Also keep in mind seam allowance because we'll be taking it in 1 more centimeter from where we cut. And then any adjustments to the neckline, keeping in mind that we'll be folding this in 1 centimeter as well. We can now mirror the adjustments we just made onto the other side of the sleeve. And make sure that if you made any adjustments to your side seams that the pins are straight. And then if you made any of those adjustments, you can go over those seams again with a zigzag stitch. And then trim away all the excess fabric from your shoulders and your side seams. We're going to go over all those 4 seams again with a zigzag stitch, but this time making sure that the needle goes over the outside of the fabric. This is a technique I like to use when sewing with knits to make sure that none of my fabric frays. With the basic shape complete, we're now going to hem the neckline and the armholes. I'm going to start by showing the technique on a little square of the fabric. All you need to do is place your elastic on the right side of the fabric, and if your elastic has a design, place the elastic design facing down. So again, right side of the fabric with the right side of the elastic and the design facing down. So right sides together, you're going to stitch that elastic onto the fabric, again with a zigzag stitch. You can then trim away if any of the fabric is poking out the other side. You're then just going to flip your elastic over and do your second zigzag stitch. You can either have it so you're showing the design of the elastic, or you can flip the fabric over to cover it. So just another zigzag stitch, again on the right side of your fabric. This is a great technique for armholes and necklines of knits. We're now going to do it on the neckline of our actual piece. Taking your elastic, we're going to pin it right sides together, the right side of the fabric and the right side of the elastic, with the design facing down, and then you can again just sew with a zigzag stitch. You want to make sure that the elastic just slightly overlaps at the end. Then trim away any of the excess fabric if anything's poking through. And fold your elastic back over and then do your second stitch. Depending on your fabric, you may want to iron it at this point as well. You'll have 2 stitches on the back and 1 stitch on the front. I did one side with the picot design poking out, and then one side with the fabric covering it. We're going to do the exact same thing for both of our armholes. You can do the same technique for the bottom of your shirt, but depending on your fabric, you can also just leave it as a raw hem. Because we're using a stretch fabric, there's a lot of different ways the fabric might act, so it just depends what kind of fabric you're using. Some might roll, some might fray, some might overstretch, and some might be okay to just leave as a raw edge. The last step is to do the details around the bow. So for this, I just cut 2 pieces that ended in points. The length and width is totally up to you, but I would recommend making a couple and just seeing what you like the look of. So I folded it over as small as I could, and then sewed it with a straight stitch, slightly tugging the fabric because I wanted a little more of a gathered look, and then trimmed away any of the extra fabric. I then folded it over again and did my second stitch, and then did the exact same for the other side, again slightly tugging the fabric. My goal was just to make as small as a hem as possible with my sheer fabric. And then you can just kind of play around with how much of this detail you'd like to add by incorporating your bow and see what it looks like. And you're all done! Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, please subscribe.